Go. The general concern feels in the environment. I think that the time has come as a biologist that have read many general courses about virology in the university can say some words about the coronavirus. I will try to do it from the academic point of view, as in the internet we can find many false information that is bad in many ways. One, this is just the coronavirus. It's a member of the virus belonging to spectrum pathogens within the area of a person. It's not a plague, it's not smallpox, even not measles that is uncommon to have in our generation. This isn't even the coronavirus that provoked an atypical pneumonia in 2002 and that was much worse. The present the virus kills, like it's normal in any respected virus that comes from an animal and stays in the body of many people, but it kills in a moderately way. In the world, each day dies the same amount of people from tuberculosis that from COVID, and the same amount from malaria, but these figures we don't follow online. 3. 2. The virus sadly is very contagious, more contagious than flu, but less contagious than mumps or rubella. And we don't mention smallpox. In our minds, the increase begins to grow in real time of the figures of infected and dead people. Mentally, we put the word already. In St. Petersburg already there are 8 cases. In Russia there are already 93. In China there are already 80,000 cases. The correct term will be just 80,000 cases in the millionth. China in the 3 months of the outbreak is just not entirely dangerous. That's why the panic was inflated. We in Russia are in the beginning of the development of the outbreak. In a pair of weeks, the situation without doubt will be worse as it happened in other countries. But this still will not be as close as happened with other outbreaks. Humanity has survived many of them through history, except for the last 50 years. And almost nobody from the marks of the epidemic have died. That's why it's best to leave panic aside. 3. The virus got out of the frontiers of one country and the growth points developed around the world. This was inevitable. By the way, you shouldn't be afraid of the word pandemic. It just means that the cases of the illness are found in most parts of the world. But it isn't something that is threatening to the extinction of humanity. But if each country follows the same way of China in these next months, then the cases of illness will dramatically increase. But still, it would only touch a small percentage of the population of each country. But the sum will not be small either. The quarantine is meant to not have the same amount of cases as China in a short period of time. The methods of prevention that China has implemented and now is using Europe and all the world are without precedence. Its main goal is to reduce the load in the hospitals when massive outbreak will come as it happened in Italy, and it's tragic, and also to extend the propagation of the infection in a period of time. 4. The death of indicators because of the coronavirus reflects the reality. No one in the epoch when the social media can reunite a group of people whose relatives have died of an inflammation in the lungs without any indication of flu or any other RV, and would comfort and tell each other about the problem. But the indicators of the overall number of cases indeed are a lot smaller, as the magnitude of the people who suffered the illness without symptoms were impaired when the illness still wasn't discovered. And now many cases aren't discovered, but are monitored. But when there is a decrease in the case of infected people, then there will be less percentage of mortal results. This virus has no relation with work done by humans and haven't escaped from any laboratory. While people are in panic in the laboratories of all over the world, there is a lot known about the SARS-CoV. In general, all this began from a massive contagion in China. That means someone has eaten a bad animal. Or maybe someone was standing in the market where by coincidence there are in cages animals like snakes, bats, chicken, pangolins. Then they are cooked for the consumers in the one table without any sense of hygiene. It's the best environment for the virus, that are very likely to look for happiness in another host animal, where even the bat shares liquids with turtles and rabbits. And the virus that enters a new host, to adapt to it, inevitably will get new elements, and a lot of them will behave in an aggressive form. Additionally, jumping from the interspecific barrier from one time, the virus will jump another one, easily adapting to new hosts. In some place of the chain of hosts, there can be the human. This is not the first virus that has its origins in Chinese markets. It can be China will reorganize, and it can be we got lucky that the virus won't be so strong. 6. The coronavirus SARS-CoV will not go to any place from our lives. He will not disappear. He will not be eliminated by quarantine. Medicines against it, as for many other viruses, we don't have. The recommendations of the doctors are that we need a support therapy, that we will be the most effective. A vaccine will be developed maybe by summer, but a massive production will be not out until the end of the year, as the period of testing of any vaccine can be reduced. That's why a big part of the population of the planet will be sick no matter what. And this is important because the best remedy against viral illnesses is the collective immunity. While more people get sick than get immunity, then less will be new cases of the coronavirus, and the virus will be slowly forgotten. Don't believe in rumors of getting sick again. For the coronavirus, the immunity has to be developed in a trusty form. The coronavirus isn't like any form of the virus of flu, and that's why he won't be keeping people in quarantine and fighting against it for years or decades. The coronavirus doesn't have any special mechanism that will let it have big changes. In the contrary, the virus of the flu does have it. The coronavirus is probably that will take the usual way of disinfections until it gets to more people, then there will be less symptoms. And new forms of the virus will not appear, or there will be few, and they won't get through the barrier of immunity. That appears after the first infection. But in 6 months, the present academic situation can be prolonged. Gradually, the virus will be one with the environment, and a lot of people will get sick, and humanity will be back to its normal life. 8. Luckily, children almost doesn't get ill, but can get through the virus without symptoms. Healthy adults will get through the illness pretty well. Somebody will have a little temperature, somebody will get sick as he has flu. In the hospitals, under the risk of death will be few people, and a little percentage will die. Not more dangerous than the flu, and even not as dangerous as the pneumonia that is more lethal and disturbing. And as all already will have understood this far, in the group of high risk belong people older than 75 years, and mostly the ones that have any dormant disease. Here the risk of death is each 5th, 6th people that is sick, all this based on the precise statistics. 9. From the biological point of view, if we see a person as an animal variation, the coronavirus shouldn't be seen as a threat to it. He kills people with low immunity as any other infection, and gradually reduces the population of elderly people. 100 years ago, the humanity will take all this philosophically, as God wanted, and the global outbreak of the coronavirus of 2020 will be forgotten with happiness, giving no importance if even smallpox will appear in their town. But here we have the other phase of progress. We don't want to give this virus anything that lives from people, not any elder who can be a father, mother, or grandparent. And to protect them, we will put them to a special room in the hospital that is best for them and will help them breathe. We know that the amount of these rooms is small and the respiratory devices are few for each person. And most of all, that all of them help to live many other people that can threat because of the coronavirus. 10. That's why the method of the quarantine is justified. Who among us has the possibility of choosing between going to a bar at night and the death of an unknown elder in the chain of the infection with the virus, which we can reject voluntarily, will choose to go to the bar? Maybe if the price of the boredom will be calculated with the life of elders, then all people agree to be bored at home, without going out to the light and fun. Even you can miss the job. Most of all, if you have to go there by subway, and the world wouldn't be reversed if you stay at home. Adding to all of that, we don't need to mistake the complete auto-isolation with the reduced social activity done consciously. The virus isn't so scary, so we can't give it the opportunity to paralyze all. We don't have reasons to buy stock for a year in the markets. It's also understood that these markets won't close, and even if you buy so much, then you will be eating rotten food. As it was said correctly in a meme, if you, in the quarantine of 14 days, need 144 rolls of toilet paper, then you should have gone to check yourself to the doctor a lot earlier before the outbreak. You don't have to fear going outside. We don't have to be afraid of going to work if you really need to go. And mostly you don't need to be afraid of suffer of this virus. Perhaps we haven't been sick with flu never in our lives, or didn't we have high temperature? We just have to be worried for our grandparents, and mostly for them it's best to not go out too much and talk with other people. And also not just avoid traveling in public transport, but also avoid any place with a lot of people, even if it's in a cultural place. It's certain that they won't like this too much, but in the next weeks it's the best that they don't visit their children or grandchildren, because they can bring to them a dangerous infection, even not knowing it themselves. We have to explain this to our relatives and other friends, as you can also offer them things to do at home. They still will get sick, but the important thing is that not all at the same time. Thank you for your time. I hope this information will be for good use to you. And if you like the video, give it a like and share it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.